the tilt is real. Tilt is real.
This is when the tilt is real.
Welcome to another episode of the Tilt is Real Fantasy Podcast. Coming to you live from the chef's table, here are your hosts, James Crease and Juan Pena.
Let's go.
Good morning, fantasy football world. And it is a great morning because it is Sunday morning. Yes, welcome into the Tilt is Real Fantasy Football Podcast. It is the Sunday Tilt edition of our show. We are live here on live stream to bring you all of your Tilt answers for the Week 6 slate. With me, as normal, my co-host, my brother in arms, Mr. FF, one of a kind. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Chef. We're talking about football, dude. It doesn't get better than this.
And welcome back, the esteemed traveling producer, Mr. FF John Swanson. I hope you recorded every sound there was along the way.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, I've been traveling a lot. I think my computer has had it, so I'm having some connection issues right now. So if I don't hear something that anybody says, I'm troubleshooting it right now. I apologize in advance. I don't know what's going on, but I'm very happy to be
good, man.
here with you
You're
guys
talking.
on Sunday.
You sound good.
You sound great. Yeah, you sound great to me.
I know. I don't know what's going on. It's you guys coming in like robots. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe I'm turning into a robot. I don't know. Kind of feels like that sometimes. Doing one of these. Say no.
If I do this, do I freeze?
Mr. Freeze.
And I'll tell you what. I'm gonna pop out and pop right back in. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
That might help. Yeah, sure.
That might help.
We'll
So
hold it down.
I'll see you guys on the other side.
See you on the other side.
My man.
Oh no, I almost ended the broadcast. Okay, wait.
No, don't do that.
My man Corey did that to us the other day. That was legendary.
Oh man, he dropped the hammer on us.
Yes, he did.
Who did that?
Corey, we were on live with Chase
no.
at FF Intervention with the breaking news about the Le'Veon Bell and getting released and all that.
He
And we were having a
dropped the
great show. Yeah, we had like 1,400 people watch this show. It was crazy. Like, and
Oh my
we had,
gosh.
yeah, we were steady streaming with like over 30 people at always live with us. And for some reason, Corey hit the wrong button on the way out, man. And it was epic the way he went out. And he was like, "Oh, Kevin Hart," and I'm out. And he ended the broadcast instead of like just being out. But it was epic. I'll never forget that one. That was hilarious.
All right, well, I'll be right back. I'm gonna be out
man.
before I hit the
Don't end the broadcast.
Sounds good. Don't end the broadcast. All right. So what's going on, Juan? How are you today?
I'm fantastic, Chef. You know what it is. It's less than 3 hours to kick off. It's a great week of football. There's 4 bye weeks. There's all kinds of news. Luckily, everybody passed their COVID test. We have football. No Tuesday games, no cancel. As much as I like the Tuesday game, no pushbacks, no cancellations, no forced buys. We're just gonna go to football this week.
I'm loving the double slates on Monday though.
Yeah, that's dope.
I mean, we have another one this week with the Chiefs versus the Bills, and then the Cardinals with the versus the Cowboys. I'm excited for those games in particular for this week. But we have a long Sunday slate today. At 1 o'clock, we have 9 games, and then 2 4 o'clock games. One at 4:05 and 4:25. It's going to be a great week. Just a quick note for those that are just jumping in or paying attention to your fantasy roster for the first time this week. The Raiders, Saints, Chargers, and Seahawks are on a bye this week. A lot of fantasy implications for that, obviously, because if you have Russell Wilson or Alvin Kamara, man, you've been crushing it along the way, and they're not playing this week.
Yeah, Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs. There's
the list goes on and on.
With Justin Herbert, there's tons of them out there, and they're on a bye, and you had to pivot, and maybe you're still trying to figure it out, and you're still trying to pivot and trying to make your decisions, and that's why we're here. That's why the tilt is real.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. Let's get into the first Sunday game on our slate of things. It is the Texans versus the Titans. The line for this game, Tennessee giving 3.5 points, an over-under of 53 points. Notable injuries are Corey Davis. He has 2020. And a late one that brought up yesterday, Akins from Jordan Akins from the Titans is out with a concussion.
Houston Texans,
Texans. I'm sorry, I don't know why
it's
I said Titans,
because they're playing each other. But Akins is out. It is very early. But you saw Akins go out, and he wasn't in last week, and Fells ended up scoring a touchdown and had himself a decent little game in his absence. And they don't feature the tight end, the Houston Texans, too much, but it is another piece that's missing, so it does affect the game for Watson.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that game. I like the Titans side of the ball in particular. I think Derrick Henry is a smash this week. Going up against Houston, they are terrible at stopping the run. I think he's going to have a lot of success, and it's going to open up the play action for Ryan Tannehill. And I think A.J. Brown, although he gets shadowed by Roby this week, I think he still has a great game. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the same thing. And he's one of my plays. Derrick Henry was one of my plays in DFS. He's one of the guys that I'm willing to pay up for because he is projected to have a really, really good game against that, porous Houston defense. They haven't stopped the run since the beginning of the season. You saw Hilaire do work against them in the first game of the season, in his first game ever, and they just haven't really remedied that situation since. I believe James Conner also went for 100 yards against Houston a couple weeks ago. So a team like that's giving up that many yards to the running back, you want to smash Derrick Henry. What I love about this game is that the Tennessee Titans, they're only a 3.5 point favorite, but they're leading the league in turnover differential, and they're playing really well. And that win against Buffalo really impressed me, the way they handled themselves and the way they played on Tuesday, on the random Tuesday game. So, I think the Titans end up winning that game. I know Watson can make plays and do his thing outside of the pocket, but Kevin Byard and those guys in the secondary are really probably looking forward to maybe one of those jump balls that he likes to throw, and they're going to try to be opportunistic and turn the ball over and take advantage of that. They also get Jeffrey Simmons back. They're great defensive lineman, and he's a game wrecker, and he's a second-year player, and he's a game wrecker, and he can make life difficult for Deshaun Watson today. That's going to be an interesting game, as they all are, but division rivalry games are always really good.
I have a quick question. Brandon Cooks for this game. He's coming off of an 8 reception for 161 and a touchdown game against Jacksonville. Now, I know the defenses are like night and day, but is he flex worthy this week?
It would depend on context, Chef. It would depend on like who else the other options are. But right. I think you have, after a week like that, you really don't want to chase points. We always say that, right? We don't want to chase the points from last week and the performance of last week, because it could have been just a blip on the radar and not really a consistent kind of thing, a predictable thing. But he or Will Fuller is going to have themselves a game.
Would you play Brandon Cooks or Christian Kirk this week going up against Dallas?
I love the Monday night thing, and I love the fact that the Dallas defense has been giving up points to everyone. So, and this game could be Derrick Henry runs the ball, Titans control the clock. You get limited opportunities as far as the Texans go. So I'll go for the shootout on Monday night, and also I love that late comeback Monday night hope thing. I don't want my week to be over at 4:00 this week. Today, you know what I mean? I want to have a little bit of life going into Monday night.
There's a good chance. Yeah, there's a good chance that that some teams out there are over by 4:00. You're right.
Yeah, there's only 2 games.
I hate when that happens, and then you're just hoping that the people you're going up against just don't pan out.
Yeah, I'd rather have maybe Christian Kirk will save me than Brandon Cooks killed me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather err on that side. It gives you hope all the way through. I mean, at least you have hope all the way up until 10:00 on Monday night. If your week is over, it takes the fun out of fantasy. If your week is over at 4:30, and you're like, all right, I'm done. Now what?
Yeah. I was it last week or the week before? I won. Maybe it was last week where I won by 0.06 on Monday night. And then the Tuesday night game happened and I wound up losing by 0.02. How is that possible? 0.02. That's 1 yard. It's 1 yard. It's 1 yard passing. It's one passing yard. Unreal.
That is unbelievable. That's a bad beat, Chef. And you beat Tilting Tony in another league. Similarly, you beat him by just a couple points. It was a really narrow victory, and then you were on the back end of a loss the other way. So that's fantasy football, man. It either gets you one way or it gets you the other. But that's why we're all here, man, because it is so exciting and so fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if we're calling the game or as far as predictions go for this game, I think the Titans win the game. And the way they've been playing lately, I'd be hard pressed to pick against them at this point. I love Watson. I love the upside. He makes plays. He's off schedule. He does a lot of things. I just don't know if this is the week that they're going to be able to do it. I will, though, say AJ Brown, the way he was getting open against Josh Norman last week, like he can have a really big game. No matter if Roby's on him or whoever's on him, he can have a really monster game. And Jonnu's been like a fantasy revelation this year, and he is absolutely awesome. So they're going to have a great game too.
Yeah, I love Jonnu and AJ Brown, and the fact is that I like the fact that you can, if you have Derrick Henry and Jonnu Smith, you could play them both.
Oh, absolutely, you can play all three. Really,
they play off each. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would go full board, stack with Tannehill and Derrick Henry, Jonnu Smith, and AJ Brown on one team. It might be a little too heavy, but.
This week against that matchup, I don't know if I would be too scared of it. Tannehill's one of those guys that we don't trust him because of history, but recency would tell you that he's a start. And then you're starting Derrick Henry because, of course, you have to, especially with all the buys that we mentioned earlier. But then A.J. Brown just came back. You finally got him in your lineup. And I know, Chef, you have him in a few lineups. And he came back for you and played well last week against Buffalo. So if he's a start, Jonnu's tight end 2, I think, right now. So he's a start. You can start all of them. And I mean, it's a lot to put on one, to push your chips in all on one team, but they can produce, and the matchup definitely favors them.
Yeah. Jonnu's tight end. Let's see. He's ranked tight end 4, but his average points per game are second among all tight ends, only behind Travis Kelce. So that's a great point.
It was the forced bye week is what hurt him, but he's otherwise been spectacular this year.
Oh, yeah. 100%. All right. So, yeah, I think it's unanimous. We both have the Titans winning this game.
Right.
Tighten up. Tighten up. One quick note that I have in my notes here for this game. Khalif Raymond, he might be a sneaky DFS play at the bottom of your flex if you want to have a heavier roster up top. Only reason why I'm saying is Stephon Diggs last week destroyed Hargreaves for 10 receptions, 106 yards. That's something to think about when you're doing some DFS this morning in your leagues. I just, quick note that I
Chef,
picked up on.
You got to pick on the matchups, man. And a couple weeks ago, Hargreaves, I was like, yo, gimme. Whoever's going up against Hargreaves, gimme. Like he's getting beat. So yeah, that's not a bad play, especially with Corey Davis being out due to 2020. Like Khalif Raymond could be a sneaky play. And if he hits a home run, he can win you a week or win you a tournament or get you up there in the rankings.
Yeah, I like him in tournaments as a bottom guy.
Yeah, man.
All right. Unanimous. Tighten up. Moving right along. The Cincinnati Bengals face off against the Indianapolis Colts. Colts giving up 7.5 points. The over-under is 46.5. Now, that's not saying too much of the Colts, I think. I think the Colts can put up more points, man. I don't know.
It's just that you haven't seen it. It's just that we haven't seen it up until this point. You know what I mean? The Colts have kind of struggled on offense. You've seen T.Y. Hilton drop some balls. You've seen Phillip Rivers be inconsistent. The play calling, like sometimes they feed Jonathan Taylor the way they should. Sometimes they kind of limit it. The first game you saw them work Nyheim Hines, and then he disappeared completely. So it's one of those iffy type of games. And the Bengals have been in every game. Like they've been, except for the Baltimore game last week, they've been in games and they've made it tough late. And Burrow has fight, and he's a proven kind of kid like that. He's always going to keep the team in it, and he's always going to keep fighting to get, the game close. I fear though that this is the week that they meet. Like again, like they struggled last week against Baltimore, facing a real defense. Now they're facing another real defense, even though they are without Darius Leonard. I still think they're facing a defense that's top notch, a top 5 defense in the NFL. And it's another test for Burrow, yet another one, because he keeps going through them week in and week out.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay away from Burrow this morning or today in this matchup. The Colts are just, their defense is unbelievable, and it's not like they're getting a lot of sacks. They're just stopping a lot of games, a lot of series. They're shutting them down. They're not putting up a lot of points. They're not allowing a lot of points to fantasy players either. If anybody on the Bengals side, who do you trust outside of, say, Mixon, because you have to play him?
Right. I was going to say Mixon is one of those guys that you drafted to start. And because of all the buys that we mentioned, more than likely everybody's going to have to start Joe Mixon. So you don't have a choice but to play him. Probably Tyler Boyd. If I was going to go with anyone, I would probably go with Tyler Boyd in the slot, because it seems like Burrow is absolutely just all in on the slot. Like, it's all in for Tyler Boyd. Higgins had a couple of touchdowns 2 weeks ago, and he flashed, and he's this or that. AJ Green's been a question mark, but Tyler Boyd has been the guy that he looks to on like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. That's the guy that he needs to be able to move the chains. And it's no coincidence he did it last year in LSU, so he favors the slot guy. So Tyler Boyd is probably the only guy that I'm starting outside of Joe Mixon on that team.
I like that.
And then on the Colts side, Chef, like you mentioned, their defense isn't getting sacks. Well, Justin Houston is the like borderline Hall of Fame edge rusher, and he's out. And you don't have Darius Leonard, your middle linebacker, so you're probably less, likely to blitz and bring more pressure with the other linebackers, because you're going to need that help to get back in coverage. And so, yeah, they're not going to probably pressure Burrow too much, but I think they will do a good job containing, and that's what they do. And they got DeForest Buckner from the 49ers last year, and he's a difference maker. Like, you've seen these teams lately, like if they have a good defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman like Chris Jones or Aaron Donald, like these guys wreck games. And I was talking about Simmons earlier from the Titans. DeForest Buckner is no different. Like, he's one of those guys that'll come in and just disrupt everything you want to do. So when Mixon gets a run and he thinks he has a hole, and Buckner's demanding a double team, somebody else is free to come down and make that play. And that's what's been so good about the Colts defense so far.
I love it. One sneaky note, Mo Alley-Cox is out in this game.
Wow.
If you're looking for a tight end streamer, I would go after Trey Burton. He's a decent tight end, and he gets a little bit of target work here or there. I want to pull up his numbers real fast.
Yeah, while you pull up his numbers, Chef, I got him in my DFS lineups this morning. I was like, you know what? Let me fire up Trey Burton, because he had a decent little game last week, and it was going to take a while, but whoever the tight end is under Phillip Rivers, and you've seen it, it's Mo Alley-Cox last year. He made Virgil Green relevant. You know what I mean? While he had Antonio Gates, Hunter Henry came from nowhere, and he made him into a fantasy star. So whoever is the tight end under Phillip Rivers is going to eat.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I got the numbers right here. In the last 2 games, he's had at least 5 targets in each. 6 targets last week for 5 receptions, 33 yards. He got you 8.3 points. If that's something that you're looking at as a quick fill-in, that doesn't do too bad. We mentioned Darren Fells in the Titans and Texans game as well.
Yeah, if you think about it, Chef, like Waller's out, Cook is out, Hunter Henry is out. So if you have one of those tight ends and you're streaming and you're desperate, Trey Burton could have himself a game, especially against that Cincinnati defense.
Agreed. Yeah. Cincinnati's not that good on defense.
Yeah, no,
they give up some points.
Yeah.
All right, moving to the Northland. The Falcons travel to Minnesota to face the Vikings. Minnesota giving 4 points on this game. The over-under 54. Big news was that Dalvin Cook was out with an adductor strain, aka a groin. But the two cornerbacks for the 2 starting cornerbacks, shall I say, for the Minnesota Vikings are out. Does this open up with Julio Jones being back in the starting lineup for today? Does this have a potential chance to be an upset for the Falcons? Does Matt Ryan actually win a game?
I think it's going to come down to the last play, like it did last week for Minnesota against Seattle. I think it'll come down to the 4th quarter. But Chef, like you just said, those corners are out. I fired up Matt Ryan in DFS. I'm firing up Calvin Ridley in every lineup that I can. I'm even going to go with Russell Gage. this has a potential shootout type of game script happening here. I love that idea. You think Dalvin Cook is out, you're going to try to run the ball with Madison, control the clock and all that. But Atlanta's defense is so porous that this might be the game where they let Cousins loose and you see Jefferson and Thielen thrive. And it becomes a game where you need to score points to keep up, because Minnesota's defense has been vulnerable already. And then without their two top corners, like, this game has over whatever the number is, put it over. And this could be the one that makes or breaks like your fantasy week and your DFS lineups.
Yeah, I'm playing all my pieces in this game. Even Alexander Madison, obviously, if you're the Dalvin Cook owner, you're playing Alexander Madison. No questions asked there.
Chef,
I'm really intrigued about, and I'll talk about the Falcons side of the ball. With the Minnesota Vikings starting cornerbacks out, and we saw them start to get picked apart later on in the game when they switched those zone reads in the fourth quarter. I think Matt Ryan actually puts up great numbers today in the attempt to play catch up. And the one player from the Falcons that really has impressed me is Todd Gurley. He's running back 11 currently. We did not expect Todd Gurley to be a low end number one running back in 2020. What's your reaction to that, Mr. Swanson? Let's talk about some Todd Gurley while we're here.
Oh no, he's frozen again.
All right.
So
All
while
right,
he's
Juan, yeah, go ahead.
While he's frozen, Chef, we had him as an RB2. Like, we had him as a mid-range RB2, and we were ready for him to be, relevant again and for him to get a bounce back. And he's on a prove-it deal and all of that stuff. So, yeah, 11 is a little bit higher than we expected, and he had a breakout game last week. So, can he do it again against the Vikings? Probably, especially given his involvement in the passing game. And if the corners are out and they're going to have to commit safeties to double and help Julio's back. So, like, Julio needed to be doubled no matter if the corners were in or out, which, by the way, those corners weren't playing great to begin with. So now you're definitely doubling Julio. Calvin Ridley's seen double-digit targets in every game except the Green Bay game a couple weeks ago. So that attention will make space. And don't be surprised if it's a Hayden Hurst game, a Russell Gage in the slot game, and a Todd Gurley out of the backfield kind of game. But the efficiency of the Falcons offense in general should improve this week. But not on that side, Chef, I wanted to ask you, because you have special insight to this right here, because I know you're a longtime Dalvin Cook owner and you have Madison. This week, is Madison a top 10 running back? Like, that's where I want to go with it.
No, he's not.
Not top 10?
No, he's not a top 10 running back this week.
Okay.
I'm comfortable saying he's a running back 2. There's a lot of matchups this week that I'd rather have over Madison. If he's just sitting on your roster and you have, for some reason,
Myles Gaskin.
I would play Myles Gaskin over him.
James Robinson.
James Robinson's another great one. You want to keep going? Yeah.
Mike Davis.
No, I'd play Madison over Mike Davis.
My man, yeah, against the Bears. Yep, good call.
Against the Bears. I'm lowering expectations for Mike Davis this year. I mean, this week, not this year. His year's almost over, by the way. And for all of you Christian McCaffrey owners, we have to tell the public. His season's almost over. For all of you that think that Mike Davis is going to continue to get touches after the elite Christian McCaffrey comes back into the fold, yeah, you're crazy.
The 101.
But yeah, no, Madison. From what I saw, and it's the eye test on this one that really punches it home, because he did have good numbers last week. He's not Dalvin Cook. And for all of you that think that he's going to give you all those Dalvin Cook numbers, you're wrong. He has trouble finding holes in the middle. Okay. And he doesn't have the burst speed like Dalvin Cook does to hit the holes in the middle or the outside. He's great in the passing game. He'll be able to catch the ball pretty well. And I believe they will have to pass this week. So that's a plus in that department. And you could see the numbers on the passing side of the game actually really help him as far as fantasy production goes. But yeah, I think they worked Mike Boone in a little bit. Especially around the goal line, which Mike Boone could snipe or something this week. That's something that people aren't expecting to happen, and I wouldn't put it past the Vikings to do something like that this week.
I like that, Chef. I could even see a little play action Kyle Rudolph touchdown situation happening now near the goal line.
Irv Smith, man.
Irv Smith.
Irv Smith this week. Yeah.
Okay. They are going to have to throw it though.
A lot of people are on Irv Smith this week as a sneaky start, especially in DFS. Last week, he had 5 targets, 4 receptions for 64 yards. That's another one that you can just throw into your lineup this morning if you were the Jordan Akins owner or you don't have anything else better. But he's a great matchup this week.
Waller, Cook,
yeah, Waller being out.
Waller, Cook,
Jared
and Henry.
Cook. Yep.
And Hunter Henry, yeah.
All right,
Mr. Swanson, you look like you're good, man. Because you're blinking live, so I know you're gonna. It looks like your connection is good.
You sound good.
Anything you guys just? I know I do. From my side, I'm sure you guys can hear me fine. I can't hear.
What about
anything?
What about
you guys
using your phone?
Freezes, and then I hear 6 words.
No.
And it's just I don't know what's going on. I restarted my internet. I moved out closer to the router. I turned my computer off and on. I don't know what's going on. But
maybe
this is what I hear from you guys. I hear Alexander. Matt is not going to get.
Oh, that's terrible. So it's like dialogue. That's pretty good, dude.
I maybe want to start him in a deep. But I think that's exactly what I'm getting from you guys, and it's
dude. That was the best Frozen parody that I've ever seen in my life.
That's really good.
Was that pretty good?
You can definitely get away with oh, can you hear me? You can definitely get away with calling out of work with that. That's really good.
Doing the.
I'm going through a talk.
Yeah. Sorry, honey. I'll call you back. No, I'm not in a strip. No, there's no strippers here. Yeah.
I never thought that would. Before it's guys. I don't know, man.
My goodness, that's great.
That is great.
But you're sounding pretty good now, bud. And I think Juan and I have our hooks in on the Vikings winning this game. How do you feel about this one, Mr. Swanson? Falcons or Vikings?
I don't know what you asked.
Falcons or Vikings? Falcons or Vikings?
Falcons or Vikings?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What about it? Am I picking them? Like, who do I feel? How do I feel?
Mm-hmm. How do you feel? Who you picking? Because we can hear you great. So don't worry about you hearing us. Just tell us what you feel or who you pick.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys can hear me.
We can.
I think the Falcons might win. I think only because Ryan's got all his boys back. Julio's back. You know what I mean? Matt Ryan, hopefully he's going to have a better game than he had last week. Hopefully a better game than he had the week before. What else is going on? No Dalvin Cook. I know you were saying something about Dalvin Cook and Madison when I came on, and I'm pretty sure I heard what you said, and I agree. The folks who were thinking that Alexander Madison is Dalvin Cook just because he's the guy who has the job, incorrect. Yeah, I think they might upset. I think the Falcons. I think they're gonna have a good game. I'm sorry, I don't hear you guys.
That's okay. It's
because we weren't talking. We were listening to you, so we weren't talking.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean on the Falcons side of the ball, if you got Julio, you're starting him. Calvin Ridley, you're hoping he gets a catch. Russell Gage is that boy. I don't know if he's going to get as many looks just with Julio back. Who knows how Julio's going to do, whether or not he's at full strength or he just telling everybody he's at full strength. I don't really like Hayden Hurst that much. I have him, but I have to start him because bye weeks and all that good stuff. And you're starting Gurley, man. Gurley's been killing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's been in my flex because I have one league. He's my flex running back, which means I'm in great shape.
First world problems. That's what that's called.
First world problems, man. Alvin Kamara.
I almost had those problems if Saquon didn't go out. Damn it.
Yikes.
We all have an if.
If
My man Joel Ortiz one time said, if was a CEO, we'd all have a deal. So if we all have a bunch of ifs.
I hear you on that one. All right, let's move on to the next game, and I'll put it up there. Patriots versus Broncos, the Lock and Cam comeback. This is great. I'm happy to see both of these quarterbacks back starting for their teams. It feels like I went through a drought. I have Drew Lock in a couple leagues, in some deeper super flex leagues that I wasn't able to play him. I want to see what he's going to do, especially with Noah Fant out, which is big news for this game.
And Melvin Gordon too.
Yes, you're right. So Lock may not be a lock in your roster this week with those out, but I like Jerry Jeudy this week. What say you guys?
He's about the only play that there is in this game as far as the Denver side of it. Like, you like Phillip Lindsay's opportunity, and you might be desperate because you might have Jacobs or Kamara or Chris Carson, so you might not have a chance to do anything except start Phillip Lindsay, but you really aren't feeling good about it going up against the Patriots because Belichick, historically, all he does is take away your best weapon or your number one option. And if Fant is out, you already lost Sutton for the season. He's going to try to find a way to take away Jeudy, and they're going to crowd the box and take Phillip Lindsay away and say, let me see how good you really feel, Drew Lock, and beat us, And they've been waiting a long time. And if you give Belichick time to prepare for an offense, dude, he's had way too much time on his hands the last couple of weeks getting ready for this game because they had to wait for the bye and it was canceled and they pushed it back. Belichick on 2 weeks, oof, Mr. Swanson, oof.
Yeah, was there an oof?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you still having technical difficulties?
He's still having technical.
It's terrible. I can't hear anything.
All right.
I'm trying to support
in there. We have our first question of the day from Chris Hayes. Hey, Chris, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Chris?
So Chris asks, Matt Ryan or Andy Dalton this week?
Failures. I love that, the Butters Mantequilla reference.
Matt Ryan or Andy Dalton, fellers.
Yeah, you know what? It's a little early to trust the Red Rifle, although Chandler Jones being out is going to limit the amount of pressure that Arizona can put up, but that game could be a shootout. I think Matt Ryan has to get it right. Like, they may not win that game against Minnesota, or it may come down to the very end, but having Julio back, and like the chef mentioned earlier, both corners out for the Vikings, and you have your full arsenal of weapons, I think this is a get right, finally win a game, get off the schneid game for the Atlanta Falcons. And I would take Matt Ryan. I'm going to take the more reputable name, I guess. I want to wait and see what Dallas's offense is going to look like. Because if it's Zeke 30 times, Dalton will be efficient. They may win the game, or they might find a way to stay in games. But fantasy-wise, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I've been looking at this Dallas Arizona game for the past 12 hours now. I keep going back to it because I just don't know what to expect from Andy Dalton, and that's the question mark. He was decent in Cincinnati, to the fact of hitting AJ Green 2 years ago and Tyler Boyd in the slot a lot when he had those players on the field. I think CeeDee Lamb is a smash play this week, even with Andy Dalton, but there's rumors out there saying that it may be more of an Ezekiel Elliott game. So that's something to think about as well. Arizona is 22nd against the running backs in fantasy football, giving up 21.8 points a week. And they just allowed 110 yards to the running back. I at least 110 yards 4 out of the 5 games, except for the Lions in week 3. So that's something that you really want to think about there. I would go Matt Ryan. It's a potential shootout. It's not going to be a blowout, which you don't want. Right. And yeah, I think, like Juan said, go with your gunslingers this week as much as possible, because there are only a few out there, and I would trust Matt Ryan in this one.
Yeah, 100%, Chef. Agree. Matt Ryan. Andy Dalton has some good things. He throws the ball and he gets rid of the ball in 2.52 seconds. So, that's the fastest in the NFL when the last he played. So, yes, CeeDee Lamb eats Dalton Schultz eats, and Zeke out of the backfield will have a monster game, no doubt, especially against a Cardinals team that's coming in a little banged up, like I said, without pass rusher Chandler Jones. Did you know that Chandler Jones has more sacks since he entered the league than J.J. Watt? Like he's the
really?
number one sack guy in the league since he came in, and you don't even hear about him. And now he's out for the season, and that's going to give Dalton a little bit of time. So I don't hate the matchup with Dalton. I like the fact that he's going to be efficient and get rid of the ball quick, and CeeDee Lamb's going to be a target monster, all that. But in this matchup, Matt Ryan getting Julio back in his full plethora of weapons, I got to go with Matt Ryan. And Zach doesn't trust Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
which
no,
I can't.
I wish I heard. It sounded like great stuff, man. That all sounded like great stuff. I couldn't hear any of it. I'm about to just stream it on my phone and do it that way.
So then you can watch it. Yeah, do it that way then if you have to.
All right, so we have another question.
I think I'm going to have to.
This next question is from Sarah Riley. David Johnson, Gibson, or Philip Lindsay this
Gibson.
week? I'm a big truther on Gibson as well. I think he's going to rip up my Giants this week, unfortunately. Although Lindsay has the backfield mainly to himself with Royce Freeman coming in here or there, I think Gibson gets a lot of passing work from Kyle Allen this week, and you can see him start inching up starting this week for the rest of the season in the RB category.
Yeah, it could be a breakout game for him, Chef. And David Johnson's going up against that Titans defense that limited what Buffalo was able to do last week. Philip Lindsay's going against Bill Belichick, who's had 2 weeks to prepare, and he's probably not going to have great success against the Patriots. So Gibson's the only one with a huge upside arrow pointing forward. And again, we've talked about this before. Kyle Allen, continuity with Scott Turner, the offensive coordinator, with Ron Rivera, the head coach. Gibson at 6 foot, 225 pounds. He's a big back who has receiver skills. He has a receiving history. So the upside for him to have a great game is there, and he's the definitely smash play out of those three. But great question, though. Great question, though, Sarah Riley. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. We appreciate that.
Indeed.
All right, so let's go back to the Patriots versus the Broncos real fast. Cam, we talked about the lock side of things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Cam Newton this week and his weapons around him? The obvious weapons, Julian Edelman and James White. Also, maybe a sneaky N'Keal Harry play this week?
Might be a sneaky Damian Harris play this week. Like they might have been working something where they concoct a running scheme. That's the thing about the Patriots. Like you said, James White, we could say Rex Burkhead, we could say Damian Harris. Like you just don't know. But all in all, will they have success? More than likely. And will they be able to, take advantage of the Broncos who aren't the greatest defense? Yeah. And like I said, Belichick with 2 weeks to prepare and 2 weeks to plan, they're probably chomping at the bit, him and Josh McDaniels, to get some new plays going. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the Cam from week 1 game that he had against the Dolphins, where they don't crush the other team. They won 21-11 against us. They probably will win by something like that and keep it close and just get out of there with a win. Like they'll just take their win and run. But Cam definitely finds the end zone, especially rushing. I feel like he gets a rushing touchdown, and it's a big Cam game for me.
No, I agree.
I mean, Edelman's going to get his targets, and he's going to be working out of the slot. The Broncos secondary isn't the greatest secondary in the world. So they're going to find their success, and they're going to win that game, and they should control that game. But I love Cam's prospects. I don't know whether or not he becomes a top 5 quarterback this week. There's a lot of other options out there, the guys that are going to be able to perform and put up big numbers. We talked about Matt Ryan, and even an Andy Dalton can have himself a game. So I would be hesitant. I'm not playing him in DFS or anything like that. It's not that kind of a matchup.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
But the Patriots win the game. No Melvin Gordon, no Cortland Sutton, injured Drew Lock. Like I got to go Patriots easy on that one.
You think Cam gets in the end zone this week?
I think Cam finds his way in the end zone this week.
Yes, I love when you say that. Yes, yes. I think he's coming back with a vengeance, man.
Indeed,
play.
Yeah, he's been waiting too long to get back
Bill
out
Belichick
there.
got his way, man. Bill Belichick got his way. I can't believe it. Like,
really, you can't
totally
believe it? 20 years of him getting his way, and you can't believe he got his way.
Well, I mean, it is 2020. The opposite probably should have happened at this point.
I mean, hey, the Dolphins are winning, so maybe it is opposites.
Yeah, right. It's definitely a new season, and I love that about some teams that we didn't expect to be climbing the ranks. I was on a pod the other night, and one of the your Dolphins came up in a question from a Facebook user saying, "What under 500 team will make the playoffs this year?" Under 500 right now make the playoffs, and your Miami Dolphins was one of the obvious choices. Yeah, so those Dolphins, man, keep an eye out for them. They're doing great things, and they have a great matchup this week that we're going to get into soon enough. Next one on the board is the Washington football team going up against the New York Giants.
The G-Men.
So they come up to the MetLife Stadium. Giants are giving 3 points. The over-under is 42.5. Expected to be a low-scoring game, Juan. What do you think happens?
The reason they're probably expecting that is because the Washington football team defense has been playing a lot better than everyone expected, and the Giants offense has been underperforming and underwhelming, to say the least. Like, I'm putting it nicely because I don't want to hurt your feelings, but their offense has been underwhelming so far this year. So that's probably why they're predicting a low-scoring type of game. I mean, there could be some big plays, but there's matchups that limit the cap on this game, and they're right to keep the score low. Because if you think like, okay, Terry McLaurin is explosive, well, he's going to get the James Bradbury treatment. You think, well, the Giants might get it right, and Devontae Freeman's been playing better, and Daniel Jones showed signs of life last week against Dallas, but he's going up against that front four with those 5 first-round picks. So I would temper my expectations, expect it to be ugly, old school NFC East kind of battle and low scoring type of game. And yeah, 43 over under though is really, really low. Like, that's 23-20. That's one of those teams might find a way to get in the end zone, a third or fourth time to push that score up a little bit.
And I see our viewership jumping up a little bit, guys. If you are listening or you're watching this, you have a fantasy question, jump in the chat room, drop it in the comments. Juan and I are here. We'll be happy to answer it for you. This is the Sunday Tilt. Thank you for joining in. We have a podcast every Wednesday night and Mondays. We do the Sunday recap. Tomorrow we'll be doing the Sunday recap.
I love that
awesome recap of what happened in the fantasy football world and an insight for Monday night games, late flex options, and the two things I want to talk about. One, and I'll put it up on the screen. Can Danny Dimes? Oh, maybe I just. Oh, yeah.
There it is.
Can Danny Dimes survive the Washington front four this week?
That's a really tough question, Chef. And the whole game is going to hinge on that. Like, I'm a Evan Ingram truther, and you have his jersey hanging behind you. Like, I'm expecting the talent to win out and for him to become the tight end one, like I predicted at the beginning of the year. Like, I want to see that kind of production. Slayton's been balling out. He's a little bit banged up. So can he survive the front four? It all depends on, it hinges on Garrett and Jason Garrett and whether or not he schemes them into favorable positions where he can take advantage of the fact that they're over rushing and they're getting so much pressure, and you get a little bit of drop offs. You saw success last week with Devontae Freeman and being able to, catch a couple screen passes in the short game to the misdirection with Evan Ingram, that reverse that he scored on, and he showed his athleticism. If you can put a little bit of gadgetry in there and take advantage of that overzealous front four, which, make no mistake, is one of the best front fours in football, if not the best front four in football. If you can take advantage of that and hit them and gash them for a few plays, you saw Tate get open last week. So there's signs of life. So can he survive? Yes. Will he survive? That's why we tune in.
I like that. I think he can survive, but I'm not trusting him this week. His numbers,
pivot, yeah.
His turnovers, you should have a better option. In normal 12 team, you probably do have a better option. I wouldn't be picking him up to stream him this week. His turnover ratio in the last 5 games, 5 interceptions, 4 fumbles. He does have some, like you said, some opportunity, especially with Evan Ingram this week. But I like his weapons more so than trying to figure out if he's going to have a good game.
I mean, you're missing Russ, you're missing Herbert, you're missing Breeze, and you're missing, Carr. So those are other options that you might have been able to pivot to.
I would have played Andy Dalton this week over him.
Over Danny Dimes, okay.
Yeah, I'll play Big Ben over him this week. He was available in a lot of leagues. I'd probably even play Teddy Bridgewater against the Bears this week over Danny Dimes. And I have Danny Dimes' jersey on right now.
You know what?
It's the Ocho because he's the Stinko this year, and everybody thought that he was going to be great, and me included. And I'm really upset, and I'll say it live on the air. I'm really upset with you, Danny Dimes. You need to put it together. You're only living up to maybe 3% of that 8 that you should be playing with. So get it together. Yeah, that's it. Let's go.
You know what? I'm gonna make one of those bold predictions. Last week we heard Mr. Swanson say Teddy Bridgewater is going to outscore Lamar Jackson, and he was absolutely 100% right. Like
that's a tough one.
He's
a tough pill to swallow. Yeah,
Yo,
it's a tough pill to swallow. But
you're a Lamar Jackson owner, and you still said that, and it came to fruition. Danny Dimes outscores Teddy Bridgewater this week.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's a hot take. Yeah.
If you're not watching Khalil Mack play football, then you're doing it wrong, dude. Khalil Mack is an absolute game wrecker. And look out, Panthers. Like, that game's going to be a little bit more low scoring than you think. He is getting rid of the ball quick. He's being magical. He's doing whatever he's doing. Danny Dimes outscores Teddy Bridgewater this week.
Cool. I like it.
So we have another question from Jay Brader. Thanks, Jay, for joining in with us this morning.
Jay? Good morning.
He's got a last-minute tilt. He's playing either T.Y. Hilton or Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah. I'm gonna go
with. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Brandon Cooks.
Yep, we agree.
Yeah,
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
Tell me why you like Brandon Cooks over T.Y. Hilton this week, Juan.
Yeah, recency bias aside, that the fact that Cooks blew up and absolutely had a great game. Hilton's been dropping the ball. They should have opportunities, and this could be the week that him and Phillip Rivers and T.Y. Hilton finally get it right. However, Brandon Cooks, didn't you just say a little while ago, Chef, he's going up against Hargraves?
Yeah, man. He's this week.
No, he's not going up against Hargraves. I'm sorry. He's going up against Butler, right? From the Tennessee, Malcolm Butler from the Titans.
1 second. No, Jonathan Joseph.
Even better.
It's Jonathan Joseph. They'll be him and Will Fuller play on both sides, so he'll get Malcolm Butler a little bit, which is a great matchup as well. Mm-hmm. And then Jonathan Joseph, even better.
Either way, both guys are about 30 years old or a little over 30, and Cook still has blazing speed, and he showed it to you last week. Like, he's going to have the ability to take the top off the defense and get open. Deshaun Watson making off-schedule plays and throwing the ball to him. There's more upside with Cooks than there is with Hilton, but Hilton is due. So Jay gave us a great flex, a great tilt here, because Hilton's due for a good game against that Bengals defense.
I'm fading T.Y. Hilton everywhere. I think it's clear over the past season and a half we've watched the Colts run the ball with one of the strongest offensive lines. You got Costanzo coming back this week, and we'll get into that when we cover it, or we did cover it already. Costanzo's coming back. I think it's a Jonathan Taylor breakout game. Mm-hmm. They're not going to throw the ball that much, and when he does, he only throws it maybe 10 to 15 yards down the field. T.Y. Hilton on the out route. So there's no reason why I would limit my floor or limit my ceiling in my flex with Brandon Cooks. I'm assuming it's a flex thing.
Yeah, I would go with Cooks. He's got the upside to have a blow up game for sure.
All right, and next up on the screen, Sarah coming back, half-point PPR. She needs 2: Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder, Robert Woods, or Justin Jefferson.
I think right off the bat, I was going to say Jamison Crowder, man, for fantasy, steady Eddie almost.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 20, 26, and 28, like the 3 scoring totals in the games that he actually has played. He's over 20 points in all 3 games that he's played. I know that's for, I think that's regular PPR, but you got to imagine that still bodes well for half PPR. It's sure. Yeah, he's put up big yards in those games too. And he's had a couple long touchdowns too, or a couple long plays anyway. One long touchdown.
So you guys all agree that Crowder would be
I don't know.
Out of the 2?
I'm not agreeing. I'm just stating some numbers. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. because listen, Robbie Anderson right now is an amazing wide receiver, and he's been getting it done. He does
was
have
the other one I was going to say.
You know, he has a tough matchup against the Bears,
but pick two. So if you want Robert Woods and Jamison Crowder, you can have him.
I'll tell you the guy I'm not benching. And I have to start is Justin Jefferson. I'm all in. I buy. I especially against the Atlanta defense, who's been porous and giving up big plays to everyone. I'm buying Justin Jefferson. I love the talent of the rookie. He's a really good player. He gets open. And in a matchup where you expect points to be scored, that's my favorite matchup of the week as far as fantasy points go. Like in DraftKings, I attack this game, this one, and the Lions and Jaguars game that we'll get to later. But this Justin Jefferson kid, like I really believe that he has a chance. Like I want ceiling, and his ceiling is 7 catches for 175 yards and a touchdown, like you saw a couple weeks ago when he broke out. You know what I mean? Like, so none of those other guys feels like, well, Robbie Anderson, I guess, but not against the Bears. None of those other guys feels like 7 catches and 175 in a tutty. Like none of them, except for Justin Jefferson. So he's the one I'm starting. But deciding between the others, it's tough.
It's tough. I would take Robbie Anderson out of the equation this week. It is half-point PPR, and the Bears are pretty stout against the pass. Mm-hmm. Jamison Crowder, I'm definitely playing him if I have him in my roster this week. The guy has all 3 games that he's played, he's over 100 yards in each game. And 7 receptions. So you can't stop that production. It's the only weapon that the Jets seem to have right now. And Miami's 20th against wide receivers, giving up fantasy points. So take him with that. And then Juan, I like the upside of Jefferson this week, just a little bit more than Robert Woods. The 49ers are banged up on defense. But I think it might be a Cooper Kupp game a little bit more in the slot this week. And I think Cooper Kupp is due to get in the end zone. I could be wrong. I have Robert Woods, but in half-point PPR, you want the team that's going to be throwing the ball possibly a little bit more. And I'm sorry, opposite. You want the yardage, and Justin Jefferson will get the yardage for half-point PPR. Yeah, so I'm going Justin Jefferson and Jamison Crowder.
I think that's exactly where I'm going to. Just like you said, Juan, that Atlanta defense is super porous. I think you have a smash play anytime you have a chance to play one of these guys against that defense. So I'm going Crowder and Jefferson. Faux show.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
You, keep them coming. Good questions.
Where
really solid tilt so far. Jay and Sarah both came in clutch with some tilts.
And I fixed my internet. It's all fixed.
Yay!
Yay!
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Happy to be here. Finally.
Something exciting about this, like all the nonsense that goes on throughout the whole week, and all you're looking forward to, man, is just Sunday and football and talking about it and DFS and setting your lineups. Like it's the greatest thing in the world right now.
It's nice and crispy outside. It's football.
It's football. I woke up. It was cold. I was like, let's go.
I got the hoodie on. I got a
I got the hoodie, the thermal.
Yeah, I got the thing on. I got the.
I'm breaking my Jersey boy stereotype. I put some pants on this morning for the first time since March. I try to wear shorts from April to November as just, a personal thing that we do in Jersey, some of us. But yeah, this morning, man, I was not feeling it. It was like 45 degrees outside when I woke up. I was like, no, not doing that today.
Yeah, I went outside this morning and I was hoping the little kids that would be outside playing football because I'm ready to tackle somebody. Like this is football, baby. Like I'm ready. I want to tackle a little kid, no problem today.
Juan's ready to wreck somebody.
I'm ready to hit somebody, dude.
Oh man, let's go play some ball, man. I'm down.
You will definitely end up on IR. 100%.
Someone that might be. It's a great segue, Juan. Someone that's going to wind up on IR this week is Carson Wentz. He's going up against that Baltimore Ravens defense. Baltimore giving 7.5 points in this. The over/under is set at 48. I don't expect a lot from the Eagles side of the ball at all. Like I'm lowering expectations for all of them.
I think last week you saw Fulgham. Really, he looked great. He really did. I mean, he looked like everything you'd expect from a talented wide receiver. I think this week he's still going to get some targets for sure. And fantasy wise, if you were able to pick him up, I know I'm rolling him out there. With the bye weeks and injuries and stuff, it's kind of it's a bit of a dart throw, but after last week, you're definitely feeling good about it. But yeah, other than that, I'm hoping to get some RB2 numbers from Sanders. You don't really know what to do with Ertz anymore. If you hadn't traded him yet, you're kind of stuck with him now. I'm stuck with him.
Juan has a different feeling about Zach Ertz.
Do you really?
That he expressed in our Sweet 16 episode that went live on Wednesday. I don't trust the Eagles this week. Even the target of Travis Fulgham. Yes, they're going to have to throw the ball somewhere, but Marcus Peters, my man knows what he's doing. Travis Fulgham bounced around. A lot of people don't know this. He bounced around in a couple different spots before he landed on the Eagles. I believe he was with Detroit and Chicago.
Detroit
possibly.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, on their practice squads. So he's definitely, if you paid for him, yeah, he's a journeyman. He's been in the league for a couple years.
He is an athlete, though, Chef. He played a bunch of different sports growing up and didn't start playing football until he was like 13 or 14 years old, till like high school. And he, late bloomer, high jumper, and rugby, and a bunch of different sports that he played. So, I mean, he's an athlete, and he showed his athleticism. But the Pittsburgh secondary is not the same as the Ravens second.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the Eagles have so many problems. Like Mr. Swanson, like your right guard today is Jamon Brown. That's your 5th right guard this year. 5. And he has to face Calais Campbell, who is 6'8" and over 300 pounds. That's
Pro Bowler.
It doesn't bode well. And everybody's like, you have to start Miles Sanders because of all the buys and everything else. But Miles Sanders had a 74-yard rushing touchdown and didn't break 100 yards last week against the Steelers. So fluke play, and there was holding on that play, by the way. That play should have been called back because Greg Ward was holding Terrell Edmonds the whole way, and I don't know how they didn't throw a flag. But I don't see how the Eagles – I did this against the 49ers, and I was sorry about it because I was like, I don't see how the Eagles find a way to win that game. Like, they had to win that game, and I didn't see how they would be able to. And then last week, I didn't see how they would beat the Steelers, and they got close. They were within 9 points. It was 38-29 at the end. So maybe they'll find a way to keep this game close, but I still can't figure out how that's going to happen. You know what I mean? I can't figure that out.
I agree. Yeah. It's definitely going to be a find a way to win. It's not going to be a cruise.
Correct.
It's going to be, you really got to find a way to win. You got to get creative.
Strip fumble. Lamar Jackson has been loose with the ball in the past. Maybe there's a way you can get a strip fumble, a pick six, a kick return for a touchdown. Like, there's got to be huge plays to make it happen.
Just like you said, I think defense is going to be what keeps us in this game. And just turnovers, keeping the ball on our side as best we can, trying to stop the Lamar Jackson attack. That's going to be what keeps us in this game. What was the other thing I was going to bring up quick?
Speaking of your defense, the Eagles defense, Chef, how do you feel about Darius Slay going up against Hollywood Brown? Do you think he's able to use his size and put his hands on Hollywood Brown and limit his production? Or do you think that Brown finds a way to have success?
Oh, I think Brown is a viable flex play this week. He does find some ways. They find some ways to move him around Darius Slay and break the coverage up a little bit and get him on the other side. I know Slay traditionally shadows, but Hollywood Brown is fast. And I think he can. I think he can. I think he's going to have a decent game. The real guy that I'm looking forward to in the receiving core for the Baltimore Ravens is Mark Andrews this week. I think he eats. I think he's going to have one of those top 3 tight end games this week that you're going to see. Probably. I want to say at least 5 receptions for 50 yards and possibly 2 touchdowns coming through the red zone. We haven't seen Lamar Jackson's accuracy in the passing game. I think he's below 58% over the past 2 weeks with his accuracy. So that's something that makes me nervous. Yes, his legs are better this week, but
I'm sorry. No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think you're exactly right. We are porous against the tight end. When we played the Niners, and that's another. I mean, Kittle and Andrews. They're 2
similar players.
Superstars has similar players, and 15 for 15 targets on 15 receptions on 15 targets we gave up to Kittle.
That was good. I'm not even looking at my show notes for that one.
We've given up 5 touchdowns total to the tight end position, and for a total of 31 1 receptions on 36 targets through 5 weeks of football. So
yeah, Mandrews.
So
expect
5 or 6 catches from Andrews, pushing 100 yards and finding the end zone at least once. Like the chef said, maybe twice.
Yeah. maybe twice.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Good stuff, Mr. Swanson. So, I mean, we obviously, I guess, are picking the Ravens to win this game. Because I can't find a logical explanation as to why the Eagles would win the game.
No.
Even being at home and there's finally fans and you can get hyped up, unless fluke plays happen, I just don't see it.
Listen, it could happen. I really hope it does. But
any given Sunday, but
from a, just looking at the script of everything, it's, I feel like the Ravens are going to take this one.
All right. Question coming in from Danielle.
Hi,
Danielle. Hi, Danielle.
Hello.
What a pretty girl.
Thank you.
A little blondie. Look at that little blondie.
Oh, you're talking about the baby. Hi,
Lucy. What's that?
She wants to know Laviska Shenault or Marvin Jones this week. I'm assuming it's PPR and it's a flex question.
Probably flex, yeah. I hope she's not playing one of us.
Yeah,
I'm looking at her right now. She's playing me.
Oh, she's playing you.
I'm sorry to do this to you, Mr. Swanson. It could be either one of these guys. Like they could. Marvin Jones is due for a great game. However, I am huge on Laviska Shenault this week. I'm actually writing an article about him as we speak. It's already written. I'm about to submit it, but I think Laviska Shenault, this is his moment. The last couple of games, he's up the targets and up the production, and without Desmond Trufant playing this week, I feel like this is the Shenault breakout game. It could be the Marvin Jones scores 4 touchdowns game because he's done that before in the past, and the Jags defense is definitely not, it's definitely a team that you want to target. But I feel like it's the Laviska Shenault breakout game,
especially in a game that could be a shootout too.
I fully expect this game to be a complete shootout.
I know this is against me, but yeah, and I'm surprised that she even came on air to ask this. I think she's just doing this to shake me up a little bit because I knew you love Laviska Shenault. You probably say it in your sleep.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know about in my sleep, but yeah, I've been talking about him for the last couple of days for sure.
No, you have been talking about him for the last couple of weeks, and for good reason
right.
too. He's been on the old waiver wire heroes.
Yeah, and it's the arrows going like this.
He was on the waiver wire arrows.
He was, and like if you go if you go 4 targets, 6 targets, 6 targets, 8 targets, like you're going up. So I expect like 8 to 10 targets this week and some kind of production. He's lines up everywhere. They line him up all over the field. He's in the backfield. He's a tight end. He's a split end. He's a slot receiver. He's on the right-hand side. And I this week in a game where I believe that Matthew Stafford gets right, they're coming off a bye. Big DeAndre Swift game this week. But they throw the ball. I think it's going to be one of those fun games that nobody saw coming. And either one of those guys could produce. But if I were picking, I would probably pick Shenault.
And not for nothing, the Lions they're allowing the 8th most fantasy points per game to wide receivers.
Yeah, they're 28 and 30th in overall defense. Like, so they're bottom defenses. Like they're not, in the total yards, that is. The Lions have been pretty stingy against the pass, but it's only because they've been a run on, more than anybody else, So again, 28th and 30th defenses, that spells shootout to me. That spells lots of points, and either guy is great because they're both in the same matchup, but I'm going to lean Shenault.
I agree with Juan here. Laviska Shenault, even with DJ Chark playing this week, I think Chark is more of a decoy out there than anything else. He was banged up and finally just made it through a practice on Saturday to play today. I'm loving the production from Shenault, and like you said, his production has been going up week to week. And I think when he came into the league, he wasn't just everybody thought he was just going to be that Cordell Patterson kind of wide receiver, and he's not doing that. He's actually lining up as a receiver, plus the added work in the backfield. He's not that Deebo Samuel gadget play guy. He's that line up big, come and get me, knock you over wide receiver that we all hoped he was going to be coming out of Colorado. So that is and Marvin Jones on the other side of things, he's got a lot more targets to compete with. Golladay obviously is going to command a large target share. Like you said, DeAndre Swift, big TJ Hawkinson should have a great game this week. So Marvin Jones, yes, he could come up and bite you and have that 2 touchdown game, but I'd rather have the 8 targets with 6 receptions from Shenault and a possible touchdown than the 2 to 4 receptions from Marvin Jones with 1 touchdown at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that touchdown's always a maybe. But
that's another the Hockenson take is a great take too, because similarly to the Eagles, they're giving up touchdowns to the tight end position.
Great question, Danielle. Thank you so much, and I hope you beat Mr. Swanson here.
Get him.
He's been crushing it. He's on a lot of bye. He's got a lot of his superstars are on bye weeks this week.
Alvin Kamara I have Alvin Kamara in 85% of my leagues. This is my struggle week.
This is your bye week.
That one guy. This is my it's gonna be tough. And you know what? You have AJ Dillon on your bench too if you want to flex him in instead of Shenault.
I'm still waiting for that AJ Dillon moment. I'm telling you, because when we do the 6-pack with Corey, I want to make AJ Dillon my stout, man. Like, I'm really serious about that. I can't wait for it to happen so I can put it on wax.
He's going to be one of those beers that you open up in like a year after it's brewed and it's just perfect.
Oh.
You know, like one of those aged lagers, perhaps, because I don't think you're going to see him this. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see him this week, this season, as long as Aaron Jones keeps doing what he's doing, and Aaron Jones is constant.
So like one of those beers that somebody brought over one Sunday for a party and it ended up in the back of the fridge in the garage, like not the regular fridge, and then that one day where you're like, oh, you don't feel like going to the store. You're like, I just want to drink a nice beer right now. And you go out to the fridge and it's in the back and you're like, oh, what's this? And it's like one of those 22-ounce things with the cork.
I love those.
Well, I think it's similar to he's built like Derrick Henry. There's a lot of action going on with Aaron Rodgers right now. And not built the same. No one's built exactly the same as Derrick Henry, but he is a monster. He's pretty close, right?
Eerily similar body mass index, 40-yard times. He's built like Derrick Henry and Jamal Lewis from the Ravens from back 20 years ago. Like, that's the company that he keeps as far as his physical attributes.
I don't think they need to unleash him yet, and then similar to like Derrick Henry, we didn't see him really have a great season until his second, third year. His rookie year, he didn't do too much.
No, you're right. Yeah, he was behind DeMarco Murray his rookie season, Derrick Henry, and he didn't really get a lot of burn.
And the same thing, AJ Dillon's right behind Aaron Jones,
who's slated to become a free agent and hasn't had a contract yet, so he may be moving on somewhere else. And our shout out to our man Chase Vernon from FF Intervention. He wrote an article over the summer, and it made perfect sense that Aaron Jones doesn't get re-signed and moves on to Arizona and goes to the Cardinals next year after Drake leaves. Because that
was a great call. I
heard
that take live.
Yeah, I like that.
Great take.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one.
Shout out to Chase, man.
Yeah.
It's my man's in there.
Okay. Going back to our show sheet. Move back to the show sheet.
Browns and Steelers.
Cleveland Browns versus the Steelers. The line is set. Pittsburgh giving 3.5 points. The over/under is 51. Notable injuries for this game is Deontay Johnson is out.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make it another Claypool week?
I think you're going to probably start Claypool if you picked him up, but I don't know if you're going to get what you got from him last week.
Man, that's never happened in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, that was the first time somebody scored 4 touchdowns. It's the best game by a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers in their illustrious history. I'm talking about Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, Hines Ward, like nobody.
Don't forget about Brown too.
Antonio Brown, Plaxico Burress, nobody. Not in the Santonio Holmes, nobody. So you know what though? Like, a lot of people, I love the rookie. Like, I love the way he plays and I love everything about him. But there was a screen pass with 3 blockers in front of him against the Eagles last week, and there was a gadget reverse. 2 of the touchdowns were legit. 1 was a blown coverage too, though.
1 was blown.
You know what I mean? So, like, yes, he had a great game, but those results aren't as he got what he got, and he had that result. Travis Fulgham had a better game. It impressed me more what I saw from Travis Fulgham in that same game than what I saw from Claypool. He was opportunistic, he was fortunate, and he found the end zone. Great. But Fulgham had 10 catches on 14 targets. He was featured in the offense. He was running different kinds of routes. He was a bigger piece of the Eagles offense than Claypool was of the Steelers offense. This week, instead of him, it could be James Washington and it could be Juju, who lines up in that screen play and scores that touchdown, or the gadget reverse sweep that comes around. You never know who it's going to be. So he was fortunate in the play calling and the fact that he got in the end zone. I would temper my expectations on Chase Claypool. Everybody's going crazy over Claypool. I love the talent, don't get me wrong, but
not to mention that he gets the main coverage of Denzel Ward.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, that's going to slow down production a little bit. I think it's a big Juju game this week, more so, and then James Washington being that sneaky dart throw for your DFS lineups. Also, Eric Ebron. We were talking about tight ends earlier. I think he's a nice little solid streaming option this week. Cleveland 25th against the tight end, giving up 11 points. Ebron, 5 receptions of each of the last 2 weeks. I think he's a great play as well. And I like Big Ben as a smash streaming quarterback this week as well. On the other side of the ball, Baker Mayfield was a little banged up this week. He did get into practice on Friday. He's having a little problem throwing the ball. So what's that say for OBJ and Jarvis Landry? The Pittsburghs are fairly poor against the pass, being 28th in the league for giving up fantasy points to the wide receiver. So what do you guys think about the Cleveland side of the ball in the passing game?
I think it's going to be a little tougher without Chubb. Kareem Hunt, he looks great. Johnson is still kind of coming into that role. You can't really trust him. So I think they might have a little bit of trouble establishing the run. And it might get a little predictable when it comes to the pass. So I don't know. It's tough to say with OBJ and Jarvis Landry going up against a defense that you think should be able to stop the pass. But when you know what's coming, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, listen, you can't account for that front four. Like, again, 74-yard touchdown by Miles Sanders, and then he didn't break 100 yards. Their defense is real against the run. So I'm fading Kareem Hunt completely. But as far as the passing game, Mike Hilton is suspect and got beat by Travis Fulgham last week. Jarvis Landry, if healthy and if he's right, and Jay Breeder right here puts it up, he needs a big game. This should be the Jarvis Landry game. Randall Cobb hit them for 95 yards and a touchdown earlier in the year. The Steelers. The Steelers are vulnerable to the slot receiver. They're vulnerable against receivers in general, but it's mainly due because of the blitzing. Like, I think it's because they blitz so damn much. I think they blitz like 48% of the time, something along those lines. And they really don't need to, because their front four is the only front four in the NFL that all have double-digit pressures, and that was going into the game last week against Carson Wentz. And Baker Mayfield saying, I'm going to tough it out, and mama didn't raise no wuss. Well, mama didn't raise no wuss, and everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, until TJ Watt and Bud Dupree and Cam Hayward and Stephon Tuitt are putting pressure on you consistently. So that's why I think Jarvis Landry is due for that big game, because he's going to have to get rid of that ball. Like, you're not going to run it on the Steelers. Yeah. You're going to have to throw it. And if you're going to throw it, you better get rid of it quick. It's not going to be that long stuff. The only thing that can help them make, I would fade OBJ in this game almost completely if it weren't for the fact that Stefanski's smart enough, like he did with Cousins, to move that pocket and shift the launch angle so that, like you see with Drew Brees, where they play action one way and kind of go the other way and create a new wall for him to be able to set up and throw the ball down the field, which at that point, the Steelers defense, that is their vulnerability, is the back end.
Yep. I
agree too.
But it's going to be an interesting game, man. It's going to be an interesting game for sure. That's like everybody's game of the week. They're all hyping that one up.
If the Browns find a way to win this game, do we start taking the Browns super serious?
100%.
At this point, I think we start to expect them to make a playoff run. I mean, if the Steelers are coming in undefeated and the Browns have been playing ball, man, if they come in and win this game, I think it's time to take the Browns really seriously. This is definitely a game I'm going to be watching.
That whole division, except for the Cincinnati Bengals, are serious.
It's all
the winners in the playoffs. The winner of this game is going to the playoffs, because there's 7 seeds now. So the winner of this game goes to the playoffs. Is going to be sitting on 5 wins this early. They're in the playoffs now. But if the winner is the Browns, I think the Steelers can still get in the playoffs. It just takes them kind of it's going to be harder for them to win the division outright from the Ravens. But all three teams are probably going to get in because they all look really good right now. And Myles Garrett is on another level. He's on like some old Reggie White level. Like he's right now, the way he's disrupting everything, man. He's taking advantage of everybody. I love watching him play. Sorry, I'm a defensive nerd real quick. Go ahead.
So Zach, one of our league mates that I recently found out, I didn't know he was a league mate. We're sitting here feeding him information. I think he plays me this week.
Let's go.
Let's see. I got to look it up. Don't help him. What are you talking about here?
We help everybody.
We're here for
everybody.
We
help everybody.
We're here for everybody.
Let me see. Which league is it in?
Yeah. What you're saying?
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Swanson? This makes sense. He has to get rid of it quick. It could definitely be a Landry, Hooper, and, out of the backfield, Kareem Hunt type of game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, yes, Chef. He's got you this week.
Yeah, he's got me this week. And he probably beat me this week. I made a trade to bolster my roster going forward. And if it costs me a loss, so be it. Good luck to all of you. But no, Hooper, does he get more targets if Baker can't really throw? I think it helps Jarvis Landry a lot. And we talked about it on Wednesday, Juan. In the games that Baker struggles against better defenses, he is taking those shorter routes, and we're seeing Landry get more of the work and being the higher producer in the receiving core. In games that there are shootouts, like example last week up against when they played Dallas, that's a good example. We saw OBJ get a lot of the majority of the work. So I think I think Hooper's a hit or miss. If you're playing against me, yeah, go ahead, throw him in over Travis Kelce, and and he'll do great for you. It makes sense, Zach, as a thought to see, but I think Kareem Hunt is the guy that if anybody's going to get targets down low, it's going to be either Kareem Hunt or Jarvis Landry, and I don't see Hooper unless getting into the end zone that he's really a guy you want to be starting this team unless you're on a bye,
especially against the Steelers. The Steelers are good against the tight end. They've allowed 1 touchdown all season, 13 receptions on 29 total targets. So.
You want to know the reason for that? Devin Bush.
That's it.
Yeah, Devin Bush, Vince Williams, like they cover the tight ends well, and they also aren't afraid to bring down Terrell Edmonds and put him down. They double teamed Ertz last week, and that's why you saw Fulgham go off. If they shouldn't have to do the same thing against Hooper, but if they decide to do so, then that's when Jarvis Landry is going to be able to exploit Mike Hilton, their slot corner, who's suspect to say the least.
All right, so I want to hear your guys' picks. You guys picking the Browns or you picking the Steelers?
Steelers for me.
I think I got to go Steelers, but I think the Browns keep it close.
I agree with that statement. The Browns do try to keep it close, but I think the Steel Curtain overcomes and covers the spread as well at 3.5 points. Moving right along, it's about 11:30 now. The news should be coming in.
Here it comes.
So, Mr. Swanson, keep an eye on those in and outs for us, please.
Actives and inactives.
Those are big things. We're going to move right on to the next game: Bears versus Panthers. Carolina giving 1.5 points this week, mainly because they are the home team. The over/under is 44.5 points. Keynote injury so far is Curtis Samuel. We haven't heard any news yet, but it's going to happen soon, whether or not he plays. The Panthers have a great matchup this week. It's a really test of ability. I think it's a real big defensive game. Both defenses great against the quarterback, great against the wide receiver. Who do you think wins this one, Juan? And what main fantasy implication will become of it?
Yeah, this is a tough game to pick because the Panthers are on the rise, and I feel like the Bears have been kind of fortunate. I'm just kind of waiting for them to fall off. They won that game against the Bucs by a point. I think they've been stumbling into wins more so than actually winning games, and the Panthers have looked good when they are winning games. I love the fact that Teddy Bridgewater gets rid of the ball really quickly. Like, I know Khalil Mack is playing at an all-world level right now, and he's going to be wreaking havoc the entire game. Fantasy implications-wise, this could end up being an ugly game and not really a high-scoring, fun kind of fantasy-relevant type of game. But I think the Panthers find a way to win that game, man. I just think the Bears' luck has to run out at some point, and I think they find a way to win the game. Fuller is great as a corner against from the Bears, but I think Robbie Anderson finds a way. They have a certain chemistry going on right now, and Joe Brady's got that offense clicking on all cylinders. They'll find a way to make enough plays to win the game. I think the Panthers win.
Ooh.
I don't love Mike Davis. I don't even love DJ Moore in this game. Robbie Anderson, because he's so hot, you have to start him. I think it could end up being like an ugly 17-13 kind of skirmish type of game, but they find a way. The Bears finally find a way to be who I think they are, and they're not a 4-1 football team to me.
I like that take. I like that take a lot. Yeah, I'm not trusting the wide receivers. If I can avoid playing them, I am. Yeah, there's really not much to say. The only person I really like in this slate there are the running backs. Mike Davis, I think he might come back down to earth a little bit. Last week he was the running back one in fantasy, and I don't see that happening this week against the Bears. On the other side of the ball, David Montgomery has a great matchup. The Panthers do bleed points to the running back, so I think Matt Nagy tries to run that game script safe, run the ball a lot with David Montgomery. I think Nick Foles is the game manager for it, but I think the Panthers find, like you said, Juan, find a way to win. It's going to be a close matchup, and it's a very hard game to predict on top of that.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I would leave this game out of all my parlays. I wouldn't put this game in a parlay for sure.
Yeah, I have no idea what to do with this one.
I have a great big 12-team parlay. I hope it hits today.
Did you choose this game?
Yeah, I did. I picked the Panthers money line.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, money line. I wouldn't feel so terrible about it. I would probably pick the Panthers too, money line, to win the game.
Well, it's a true test. It's a true test. But I like that 12-game slate.
I think the parlay. The Bears' luck has to run out at some point. Listen, DeAndre Swift drops a touchdown in the first game of the season in the end zone. He's wide open. They lose that game. Brady remembers what down it is against Tampa. You know what I mean? And they win that game. If he knows what down it is, just simply know what down it is, dude. And so 4-1 really quickly, you go the other way and you're 2-3, and it's like, okay, that's the real Bears. So to me, that's the real Bears, and I think the Panthers win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree.
I have my own tilt right now that I'm going through. You guys mind if I bring it up?
Hell yeah.
Sure, bring it up.
Bring up the personal tilt.
It's against Sunday Danielle tilt too, so here we go.
Yeah, payback. Let's go.
In a tight end premium league, in a landscape of bye weeks and injuries, I'm tilting between flexing Drew Sample, again, tight end premium, or AJ Green. The Colts have not allowed a touchdown to a tight end.
You don't have anybody else?
No. J.K. Dobbins, N'Keal Harry.
I would play N'Keal Harry.
I was thinking that.
Over both of them.
Yeah.
Probably right, Chef.
Yeah, N'Keal Harry, his targets are going up. He leads. He actually leads the league in red zone targets, which is crazy. N'Keal Harry. Yeah, that's a bomber stat for you. Yes.
That's a crazy stat.
I think it's something like 25% of red zone targets go to N'Keal Harry.
Unbelievable.
That's something you don't expect. And with a game like this, them getting down to the goal line, Cam Newton loves those little dump quick passes in the red zone, man. So I think it's N'Keal Harry. You can't trust AJ Green. I think he has called his own number and pulled himself out of the game. You saw him last week just giving up on a play after the ball was intercepted. That's not acceptable in the NFL.
No, it's not.
So I don't trust him going forward. And who was the other guy? Oh, Drew Sample. Yeah, the Indianapolis Colts have not given up a touchdown this year against
I could probably make a case for J.K. Dobbins, but it's only because I love him and I love his talent. You know what I mean? And I know the Eagles. The Eagles are great against the run, and I get that, but they are suspect against the pass. And if you're going to throw it to one of the 3 running backs in Baltimore, you're going to throw it to J.K. Dobbins. And I'm waiting for one of his breakout games to happen. Like I'm waiting for the moment where he kind of says, "Here, Mark Ingram, move over. Like let the talent shine." But I don't know if this is the week. So I would probably go with the chef with N'Keal Harry for sure.
Yep.
Or not probably, but for sure.
No, for sure.
All right. We've talked about this next game, the Lions versus the Jaguars. Detroit giving up 3 points. The over-under is set at 54.5. It is going to be a shootout. We've called out DJ Chark will be playing in this one. Cornerback Desmond Trufant for the Lions still out. And we hit on Laviska Shenault a lot, so we'll stay away from that one. But let's talk about James Robinson real fast. If you have him, you are definitely playing James Robinson. Detroit is terrible against the run, the 32nd best against the run when it comes to giving up fantasy points, and he is doing it on all 3 downs. You barely see Chris Thompson, and I think this is a game where if the Jaguars are contending, you are going to see this go back and forth. And I like the production coming from James Robinson this week. I think he's a sneaky play. Not a sneaky play, but a very nice play, low price play in DFS as well.
He's a bargain for sure. I think he was at, I don't remember the exact number, Chef. He was 6,800, 6,200, something.
Yeah, I think it was like 6,200, I think he was.
Yeah, somewhere along there. But yeah, he's a smash play. If they want to win the game and they want to keep the game close, they're going to feed James Robinson. They've been feeding him in the past too. So yeah, I like this game on all angles. I want to start everybody in this game. I love Kenny Golladay.
Start your Lions, start your Jags. It's a once again, it's a cat fight.
Yeah, it is a big the battle of the big cats here. But I don't know if I'm going Lions or Jags as far as winning the game. I would probably tend to say that the Lions are going to find a way to win this game. They've been on the wrong end of some bad luck in the beginning of the season. That game that I mentioned against the Bears early on. I think the Lions find a way to win the game. And what I'm looking for is a big DeAndre Swift and Laviska Shenault game. I love the rookies and I love the talent. And I think this is the game where both of them are going to have a chance to shine. But fire up Hockenson, fire up everyone. If you have to choose, like, I don't like Shark's injury. That scares me off a little bit.
I think he's a decoy. He's a decoy this week. I
think you're right. I think he's going to be out there decoying a lot. But that'll open things up for Keelan Cole and Laviska Shenault. I think, and like you said, Robinson, I think, has the big game for them this week.
I think you sneak Conley in there too, and Conley could have a
he drops the ball so much.
Right as you said it, breaking news. Literally right as you said it, Chark is officially active.
Yeah.
Yep. There he is. He's playing.
Boom.
Official.
So officially, Julian Edelman is active.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the only outs, Chef, that are big or relevant are Curtis Samuel and Auden Tate. Those guys are out.
Curtis Samuel is out. Okay. Auden Tate he was marked out earlier in the week.
Darius Leonard for the Colts is out. Jaguars defensive end Josh Allen is out. The other Josh Allen.
Yeah, he's been out.
Takk McKinley's out for the Falcons.
Yeah, the last minute one's Darius.
What about Miles Jack? Miles Jack is playing this week, isn't he?
I think he is. Yeah, he's not listed on any of the injury reports, so he's back.
That might change the game up a little bit.
Yeah, that changes it for Hockenson, I think, because he's a really good linebacker that can cover tight ends. Like, he's one of those athletic type of phenoms that you see, and he wears one of those weird numbers, number 44. Like, I don't know why linebackers have decided to wear numbers in the 40s. Bugs my OCD numbers brain.
Yeah, you got some OCD issues with the numbers on the jerseys.
I do,
we've had off-show conversations about.
You're a linebacker, dude. Your number should be in the 50s, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Weird.
All right, so with Miles Jack playing in this game, does that do anything? Like you said, Juan, DeAndre Swift is going to have a great game, or you want him to have that breakout, and I'm waiting for it as well. I have Swift shares in a lot of my leagues. We all jumped on him in the off season. And he is very similar to Miles Sanders in the fact that he played behind Jordan Howard last year. And then we saw him break out. I believe it was week 8, and then just all of a sudden take over. And now he is the 3-down workhorse. is this the beginning of that stretch? We're hoping for it, or is it really going to happen?
When you see it happen, usually it happens after the bye. It happens when you got to get your team right, and you had 2 weeks to prepare and 2 weeks to game plan and scheme. And then the perfect storm is if you're playing a bad defense, which again, these two defenses are 28th and 30th in total yards allowed in the league. They're definitely going to be opportunities for explosive plays. And I think this is the week that, regardless of Jack playing, like, again, if you have Miles Jack, great, but you don't have Josh Allen, your number one pick from last year. So you traded away Calais Campbell. Like, that team just gave away their entire defense. So I expect to see at least some explosive plays. It doesn't have to be that he's a top 5 running back kind of week. Okay. I'm not calling that. But if you see signs of promise, if you see more than 10 carries and it's over 50 yards, where it's like 5 yards per carry, and 2 or 3 of them are gashes for 10 or 12 yards, and he's involved in the passing game, then you can start to see where, like, okay, Swift is going in the right direction.
I like it. I'm just afraid of Matt Patricia. He makes a lot of bad choices with good players, man.
You're absolutely right about that. I can definitely agree with that.
But I was checking back on some history, and it looked like when I was doing my prep this week, Kerryon Johnson last year, coming off the bye, had a huge game. So if that's any implication on what's going to happen this week, I hope it turns around, and I hope you're right, and I hope DeAndre Swift just smashes the door wide open on the 2020 season.
It would be cool to see. It would be cool to see. Either way, that game's going to be an exciting one to follow for sure.
All right,
like, you don't expect
Who are we picking in this game?
Lions,
the Lions or Jaguars?
I think the Lions too. I take the Lions.
Samesies.
The Lions.
Samesies. We'll probably all wind up losing that bet because we all picked it, but
yeah, it usually happens that way.
It's one of those odd games.
Great.
This one is not so odd, and Juan, you're gonna love this. The Jets go down to Miami at 4:05 and play the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins,
the playoff bound Miami Dolphins.
The playoff bound Miami Dolphins. Well, like I said earlier, Miami giving up 9.5 on this one. The over/under is 47. A couple of key misses are Sam Darnold, and I'm not sure. Do we have any news yet on Brashard Perryman? Can somebody look that up?
Not yet.
I don't know. They were saying he was likely to play, but he was trending in the right direction was the last news that was out there.
Yeah, and they don't have to announce that until about 2:00. So
yeah, 2:30 or so. But I don't even know if that matters, Chef. Like, how did we get to the point where the Miami Dolphins are a 9.5 point favorite? Oh, because we're playing the Jets, right?
You're playing the Jets. All right. They're terrible against all positions. Well, not terrible. I mean, I think they do well. They do okay against the wide receivers. But I still think both Devontae Parker and Preston Williams are great plays this week. Preston Williams, obviously, in deeper leagues, or if you have somebody on the bye. And Myles Gaskin, he's the lead back that can do it all. The Jets 28th against the run. I don't see them doing too much. The Jets doing too much offensively outside of Jamison Crowder. So if that happens, then Myles Gaskin's going to get the lion's share of the carries, and I think it's a huge game for Myles Gaskin this week.
Yeah, it's another guy that I fired up in a bunch of dailies, and I'm using him wherever I can to try to take advantage of that Jets defense. Listen, they're having so many problems that now last year's number 1 pick, Quinnen Williams, he was the 3rd overall pick, and he wants a trade. He wants out.
He's not playing today, I don't think. I think he's out.
And the reason, like you said, they're surprisingly not bad, against the pass. Well, because if you can run it, why throw it? Don't even take a chance. Just run it down their throat and win the game and destroy them, So the same thing happened with the Lions. The Lions are pretty good against the pass, but no, it's because they're getting gashed for 181 yards by Dalvin Cook, and you can do whatever you want to them. So the Jets, I don't think, stand a chance. This is a lock of the week. This is easy money. I'm starting the Dolphins defense, who's got Byron Jones back. And we have Xavier Howard, who had interceptions in 2 weeks in a row. We just went in and beat San Francisco. Yeah, Gaskin, like you said, Chef, smash play. I think he's the only one, though, because it might not be a game where you need to throw the ball too much to Preston Williams or Devontae Parker or even Gesicki. You can just run the ball, control the clock, and win the game. 9.5 is a lot of points, even against the Jets. And we could win an ugly one this week, and it could be 13-3 or 13-6 or some crazy stuff like that. But
on the other side of the ball, do you have any interest at all with the Lev Bell news, him moving to Kansas City? Do you have any faith at all in Frank Gore as possibly a low-end flex play? Miami is a good defense, but they are 26th against the running back, giving up 22.9 fantasy points per game. So does that show any interest at all, Frank Gore or LaMichael P. Ryan?
I think that if you are considering Gore for a flex, it could be a touchdown dependent game for Gore. I don't really think it's I think
let's put it up against somebody. Let's do like Frank Gore or Kenyon Drake.
Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake.
Okay.
Against the Cowboys, yeah.
Testing the waters. Frank Gore or Cam Akers.
Cam Akers.
All right, we're getting there. Hang on, let me.
Even though that's a three-headed monster, if you said Frank Gore and Gus Edwards, I'd take Gus Edwards.
Frank Gore or Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram.
All right, so we're not playing Frank Gore.
Yeah, that's Frank Gore under any circumstances, I don't think you can play him because the likelihood of Mark Ingram finding the end zone is high because that offense should be able to move the ball at some point and get in near the goal line. This could be a game where the Jets don't see the 20-yard line, like it's realistically. So they're that bad right now, and the Dolphins are playing that well right now that it could be one of those games where if they kick a few field goals, maybe they stay in it and keep it close. But I don't see how they find the end zone outside of a fluke play or a turnover that puts them in that position.
I think Crowder's the only guy you're really playing.
100%.
If you're bottom deep league desperate 14-team league, I guess you can throw Frank Gore in there, but otherwise, no.
Hey, listen, Tilting Tony's Tony in one of our leagues is in a position where he's thinking about playing Joe Flacco. Like he might have to play Flacco. And
I wouldn't play Flacco
in a super flex.
Sometimes I almost had to do the same thing. You don't have a choice.
But you're not starting Flacco.
I almost had to. Darius Slayton's healthy, by the way.
There we go. We were waiting on word for that.
Yeah, Darius Slayton is from questionable to healthy. I forget what league it is. I have to start. It's getting spooky with the injuries and super flex leagues and all that.
And the buys this week, we have 4 teams on a buy, and they're 4 relevant.
Yeah, I'm starting Travis Fulgham in my super flex because there are no quarterbacks because everybody in this league hoards quarterbacks.
You can trade me for one. I had Lamar Jackson on the.
Speaking of hoarders,
here's the list.
I traded him this week.
Here's the list of quarterbacks that are available right now: Manny Wilkins, Anthony Gordon, Cardale Jones, Colt McCoy, Cooper Rush. Nobody. No one.
Good Lord.
You know what I did last week? I picked up Jalen Hurts just to stash him because I think it's only a matter of time.
Ooh, as an Eagles fan, I like that.
9 interceptions.
I'm an Eagles fan, rather.
Carson Wentz has 9 interceptions.
I think it's coming,
man.
Man.
Make excuses for only a certain amount of time, man. At some point, you gotta be like,
if anything, I would just like to see what happens if we put in Jalen Hurts, just to be able to discern whether or not it's the quarterback play, the coaching, the line, whatever it is. I know it's probably a combination of a little bit of everything.
When you're the collaboration of it all.
Yeah, man.
It's definitely. Oh wait, Darius Slay news. Slay's gonna play.
Yeah, Slay's playing.
All right.
All right. Well, there's one of your holes filled.
One of the holes.
20 more to go.
20 more to go. Yeah. Round peg, square holes.
5 right guards. 5. Yeah, you're on your 5th right guard.
Digging.
I think it's unanimous. I hate to cut you guys short, guys, but we're getting to that 12 o'clock thing, and I want to touch on the Monday games because we do have 4 teams on a bye. It's unanimous. We're taking the Miami Dolphins on that one.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody take Miami. I'll take them with the points. I think they're going to cover the spread of 9.5. Can't believe I just said that. Packers versus Buccaneers. It's the 4:25 game. Green Bay.
Game of the week.
Yeah, this is the game of the week. Old and versus old. TB12 against A Rod. The the line, the Green Bay Packers giving 1 point to the home team, which is nice. The over-under is 55. We've got a matchup here, guys. This is going to be a great, great game.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Adrian Peterson's going to play.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Okay. I know we were just talking about that game. All right, go ahead. Didn't mean to cut you off. Good.
No. That's good. That's cool. Tom Brady, where do you have him, Juan, this week up against the stout Packers defense? I have him as a low-end QB1 with his weapons all coming back. But do you think the Packers slow him down and hit him where it counts and put Brady on the ground?
Yeah, they do a really good job of putting pressure, and they're getting Kenny Clark, their defensive tackle, back. And I love Za'Darius Smith and Preston Smith putting pressure on quarterbacks. But they've been playing really well, Tampa, as far as keeping Brady clean. Last week, you saw Khalil Mack hit him a little bit. You can't put enough of a price on or a value on getting Godwin back, though. Like Godwin as a second option, with Mike Evans being probably shadowed by Jair Alexander, it makes the offense more explosive. It makes it more dynamic. It opens up a bunch of different things. And Brady loves to get rid of the ball quick like he used to Edelman, and I think he'll be able to do that to Godwin. This is going to be one of those games where we're all tuning in, man. And we don't have a choice this week because there's only 2 4:00 games. So even Red Zone is just going to be on the Packers and Bucks game. So this is a great matchup. It's exciting. I don't know where I have Brady as far as ranking for this week, but I do expect them to have a positive game and throw for 300 yards and get a couple touchdowns, have a typical Brady type performance. And he's going to have to. This is only the 3rd time that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady play against each other in their careers. And it's kind of cool to see. It's rare that they, two guys,
really?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
They've been in the league this long, and it's only the 3rd time they're facing each other.
That's
so
wild.
it's going to be a cool game to watch. And Green Bay's coming off that bye, Chef. And when teams prepare and they have 2 weeks, and I know Tampa played 11 days ago against the Bears on a Thursday night, but man, I gotta like Green Bay winning this game, and I gotta like Rodgers staying on fire. 13 touchdowns, no interceptions, healthy. The whole team is right. I feel like it's a Packers game.
Yeah, I agree with you that the Packers are going to win. Devontae Adams coming back and the Packers coming off the bye. You're right, but I'm a little scared of Aaron Rodgers, man. Tampa's only allowed 1 300+ yard passing game this season.
Teddy Bridgewater, right?
Who was that too?
I believe
Teddy Bridgewater.
Is that who
it was? Teddy Bridgewater.
340 Teddy Bridgewater in garbage time.
Yeah. They beat them up, and I don't know if it was the first game. I guess it was like the first game matchup, right?
Week 1. I think it was it was week 2. I think it was week 2. But
yeah, Teddy in front of me. I'm poorly prepared today.
It's all right. That's why I'm here, Chef. 340 yards to Teddy Bridgewater, but that was garbage time. I don't expect it to be garbage time for Aaron Rodgers. I think Devontae Adams coming back makes that offense even more explosive than it was already.
Oh yeah,
and they've been putting up numbers against anybody. Aaron Rodgers doesn't care about your defense. And now that Tampa Bay defense, doesn't have Vita Vea, who's a huge part of that defense, that defensive tackle. He's another one that wears a weird number. Why does a defensive lineman wear number 50? But anyway, yeah, I think it ends up being a shootout. Yeah, Vita Vea is going to be a Pro Bowler, maybe even All-Pro defensive tackle when he gets right, but he's out for the week, and that's going to help out Aaron Rodgers' production for sure.
I like it. What about Robert Tonyan? Now, the tight end star that we saw against the Atlanta Falcons, he put up 3 touchdowns over 100 yards, I believe, through the air, or receiving yards, rather. With Devontae Adams coming back, where do you see Tonyan's production going forward? And I'll go with Mr. Swanson. Go ahead first.
I think it goes – oh, no problem. I think naturally it dips. It goes down. When you have Devontae Adams back, your offense expands, and the guy is so unbelievably talented, and that's your guy right there. You see what happens when a guy like Michael Thomas doesn't play. Everybody else gets opportunities all of a sudden because you have to make things happen. When you can trust a guy like Devontae Adams, I don't think Robert Tonyan becomes – I'm sure that he'll get some looks here and there. I know he showed that he can get it done when it needs to get done. And Rodgers, he's so quick with finding the open guy. If he needs to, he'll get it to him. But I don't think you're going to see what you saw from Tonyan before the bye week, now that Adams is back.
I like it. You want to add anything to that?
Matchup dependent, though.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say,
It always is that, where he's going to find those vulnerabilities in the defense and where Rodgers decides he wants to go with the ball. But I think it's a heavy. Davante Adams was complaining that he didn't play in the last game that they played. He wanted to play. He was on Twitter about it. I think it's going to be a feed Davante Adams and welcome back game for him. So yeah, I would fade Tonyan a little bit or temper my expectations. But again, Cook, Waller, Henry, all out. So why not? You're going to have to probably roll out Tonyan if you have him on your lineup, right, on your roster.
Yeah, I like that. I like that as well.
2 touchdowns to the tight end position this year so far.
Would you go? Would you go Darren Fells or Robert Tonyan?
Tonyan.
Yeah, I would actually take Tonyan there.
Tonyan or TJ Hawkinson?
Hawk.
Yeah, that's my tilting point. I'll go Hawk.
Yeah. All right, cool. All right, that's good. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking the Packers in this one. How about you guys?
Go Pack, go.
Yeah, go Pack, go.
Yeah, Packers stay undefeated. I think they stay undefeated. Yeah.
Cheeseheads at 5-0 or 6-0. Yeah, 5-0. All right. Moving on to the Sunday night special, the Rams versus the 49ers. It's a West Coast game. Us in the East Coast will be watching it at 8:20 p.m. The Rams giving 3 points in this one, and the over-under is 51.5. Now, there's go ahead, Juan. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. I thought you were asking me already who to pick, but go ahead.
It's easy?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who's your pick then?
If it's so
easy. You like the Rams?
You saw what the Dolphins did to them last week? Yeah, man, and they're completely depleted. I know they're going to try to get things right, and Shanahan's going to have them playing better than last week and executing and all that, but you can only do so much when you're that hurt. Look at the Eagles. Like if you can only overcome so many injuries in the NFL, and against a good team like the Rams, who's been playing well, even in the losses, they almost beat the Buffalo Bills on the road. So, yeah, give me the Rams.
What about Raheem Mostert this week? Now, the Rams are good against the run. They're not giving up too much on the ground, but he is the bread and butter of that offense right now. And we saw him get the majority of the attempts and most of the passing work, even with McKinnon there. Are you confident with Raheem Mostert being an RB2 this week? Or more of an RB1 rather?
I am, yeah. I like Raheem Mostert this week. I mean, at this point, Chef, you have to play him. Again, Jacobs, Carson, Kamara, all out. So what are the odds that you don't, you might have had one of those guys or you needed a plug and play. There's guys with terrible matchups like Miles Sanders is going up against the Ravens. So like if you're blessed enough to have those choices, I would probably start Raheem Mostert over a lot of people this week.
Well said. I agree.
Let's try to find some. Let's find a tilting point. Would you rather play Raheem Mostert or Kenyon Drake?
Kenyon Drake. Cowboys gave up 300 yards to the Browns, cuz.
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert or Myles Gaskin?
Gaskin's playing the Jets.
Playing the Jets, yeah.
Let's try to do one more. Raheem Mostert or James Conner?
I was just going to say that.
Mostert.
That might be the tilting point. Yeah, there it is.
I think so.
He doesn't feel good about it. I see it on your face.
I had to stretch about it. Like, I don't know.
It's icky. Need a shower.
All right, so that puts him in the low end RB1 conversation, I'm guessing.
He's somewhere in the top 15. I mean, as far as people you have to start, there's so many committees and then the injuries and the buys, and it's just, it's
realistically, you're probably starting him. You're probably starting.
Yeah, you probably have to start him.
If he's
all right, I'll give you guys one.
Okay.
Raheem Mostert or Mike Davis?
Mostert.
See? But every other week you weren't. You know what I mean? But it's because, Mike Davis is facing that Bears defense and you don't really trust that he's going to be able to produce, right? So you went Mostert.
I think the Rams... I think the Rams defense is good, but we saw Singletary have a decent game against them too. So I think it's more of the passing work that's going to come alive this week for Raheem Mostert. I still say he has a down week, as Mike Davis does, because of the defensive matchups.
Mm-hmm.
But like like we said, those guys, like Mr. Swanson said, if you have those guys, you're playing those guys. You're not taking someone from your bench and playing them over them. We're just throwing some semantic.
What do you do with the wideouts for San Francisco with the Uke, Samuel? What do you do? I mean, because there's a lot more depth when it comes to wide receivers. Yeah, so
I'm avoiding both of them. Yeah. I'm avoiding Ayuk. I'm avoiding Deebo Samuel until we can see that Jimmy Garoppolo has gotten his game back and that offensive line can hold up. I think we see more of the same like we saw last week. They're going to push him. They saw him crumble. He wasn't 100%, and they took advantage of it. Miami, I'm talking about. Miami took advantage of it. And I think I mean, come on, Aaron Donald. You don't think he's going to get at Jimmy Garoppolo? Come on, he lives in the backfield. You're crazy to think that. Yeah, exactly. He's gonna run that offensive line over. I think Kittle has a decent game. I don't think he's at the top of his game this week because of it. And I think all the receiving targets options on the 49ers suffer because of that. And that's why I'm saying Raheem Mostert might be the only viable play here on the 49ers besides George Kittle because of the fact that they're going to do short passes. They're going to have to get rid of the ball so fast with that Rams defensive line coming at them.
Would you start Brandon Ayuk or Fulgham?
Fulgham.
Deebo or Fulgham?
Fulgham.
Yep. That's right.
It's just because I don't know who Jalen Ramsey's going to cover, but whoever lines up on that side, he's going away. And if you don't invent some gadgets and jet sweeps and reverses and something to get them involved, like you're just not going to get running. Or
quick fill-ins for those. Like we said, if Laviska Shenault's still out there, pick him up.
Grab him.
Even Preston Williams up against the Jets this week.
Grab him.
That's a one that might be out there on your waiver wire. A Khalif Raymond sneaky grab on a Sunday morning that you could probably plop in there over Brandon Ayuk. I would take Khalif Raymond this week over Brandon Ayuk.
Man, you might take Marquez Valdez-Scantling over Ayuk.
Brandon Cooks. He might be out there as well. Yeah. So those are guys that you could play. Oh, we got a question.
Yeah.
Raymond.
What's up, Raymond?
Too.
What's up, Raymond? All right. So Julian Edelman or Travis Fulgham?
Edelman.
Ooh.
Yeah, the last time Edelman and Cam were together and they were right, you saw them against Seattle, and Edelman put up the best game of his career. I think Edelman over Fulgham this week for sure. I just don't trust that the Eagles are going to be in the game, and even if he has involvement and Fulgham's involved, like the corners, like Chef said earlier, Marcus Peters is for real, Marlon Humphrey is for real, and I don't think they let Fulgham get away with the game he had last week.
And I think just as a baseline, you go with experience here. You go with the veteran. Against it's Edelman. It's Edelman for sure.
Yeah,
it's Edelman this week. Denver's terrible against the pass. Even the Jets had a great game against them. They're ranked 24th, I believe, against the pass and the wide receiver, giving up like 27 fantasy points per game. So I like Julian Edelman over Travis Fulgham this week.
Edelman.
Staying away from that Baltimore secondary as much as possible.
Leave them alone, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So go back to this 49ers. Yeah, thank you, Raymond.
Going back to the 8 o'clock game.
Rams, back to the 8 o'clock game. On the other side of the ball, with the Rams firing everybody up.
Except for the running backs. Only because we don't know which and who and what. Yeah, man. It's so tough with that team. If you have one of them and you have to start them, I mean, throw one in there and close your eyes and just go to him, you know?
I mean, I would say it's Henderson and Akers over
Brown.
Yeah.
But which one? And Akers, is he back? Are they nursing him? Are they still going to bring him along slow?
I think Akers gets the bigger dose this week. Okay. And I mean, if you probably don't have both on your squad, but if you somehow do, I like Akers. They're both flex plays this week. You can't trust them in your running back 2 spot because you don't know who it's going to be. And San Francisco's good against the run. I would definitely start Mostert over both of them, even McKinnon possibly over Akers and Henderson this week, just for that reason, because of the passing game. And we haven't talked about it yet, but I'll take Chase Edmonds over both of these guys.
Yeah, man. Anybody against the Cowboys defense that's labeled as a running back and is going to get carries, I'll take that guy.
Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. We kind of have this conversation each week. Who gets in the end zone this week?
You pick your whichever one. I don't know. Both. Maybe both this week.
Ooh,
yeah, maybe they both score this week. The real question is on that team is Higbee over? Are we over Higbee? Are we at that point where we're giving up on Tyler Higbee? There was a lot of hype in the season. He had a great 7-game run last year. Tight end one, first tight end in history to go for over 85 yards in 5 games in a row. Like the usage was historic, but there was no Gerald Everett. Now Gerald Everett is in the fold. What are we doing with Higbee since we're short on tight ends this week, especially?
Go ahead, JP.
I don't necessarily want to give up yet. I don't think it's. I think it's. I get what you're saying, and I feel like that with another tight end that you may be familiar with, but I don't think it's time to give up on Higbee yet. I think I'm starting him personally this week, and I understand Everett coming in there, getting some usage is sort of eating into that, but I want to see a little bit more from. I want to see it happen, so I'm not giving up yet.
I'm trying to figure out. There it is.
I think Higbee scored this week.
Okay.
Oh man, come on. I'm trying to go back and look at something here real fast. Where is it at? I can't find it. Shoot, I can't find it. I was hoping I'd be able to find it. Going back to our preseason shows, we talked about Tyler Higbee and his involvement with Gerald Everett not on the field. And then we talked about him when Gerald Everett was on the field. Gerald Everett was the tight end 5, and Higbee was a not even a thought. So it's the starting player in that role, and it's for the foreseeable future, as long as he can stay on the field, it's Gerald Everett. I dropped Tyler Higbee in one league.
Oh,
wow! See, that's what I mean.
Everett and picked
that's
up
what
Everett.
I wanted to know is if we were at the point already where we're dropping Tyler Higbee for Everett.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm on that level. I mean, my starting tight end is Jonnu Smith, and we all struck gold on that one this year. But yeah, Tyler Higbee, he can't be trusted. His targets aren't there, and the targets that are getting done in that play action in that 12 set, they're going to Everett or Woods or Kupp. There's just not room for a fourth receiving option, especially when the running backs are getting passing work as well.
Yeah, I was going to say they're involved too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a good problem to have football-wise for the Rams that they have that many options and weapons and they can pick and choose. And we don't like it for fantasy, but if the 3 catches that Higbee gets are effective and efficient and they move the ball, like that's what McVay's looking for. So, and again, he doesn't care about my team or your team or anybody's team.
I'll piggyback off of that, man. The Rams are looking good, dude. Mm-hmm. They're going to the playoffs this year.
For sure.
For sure going to the playoffs. They are in
barring
full form.
A catastrophic injury to, you know what I mean?
Right.
But, yeah.
Of course. Yeah. At this point in the game. And I think you're going to see it this week. They're going to take out the 49ers, and the 49ers are getting hurt, and they may be left in the dust because of this.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
They're in one tough division with the Rams and the Seahawks.
Undefeated Seahawks.
Yeah. And if they can't fill those holes, those injury holes, they're going to be left behind, and I think the Rams just run right over them this week, like we saw the Dolphins do last week.
Yeah, it's a smash.
So my pick is the Rams on that one.
Agreed.
Yeah, only Niners, homers, and lifers and truthers are going to pick the Niners for this game. Should be the Rams.
All right, let's do some quick fire stuff for the Monday night games just to get into it. CEH Juan going up against Buffalo. Buffalo is ranked 12th against the running back. Is CEH a low end RB1 this week?
Yeah, the involvement in the passing game is going to keep him there. Milano not playing the linebacker. We're not sure yet if Tremaine Edmonds is completely healthy. I mean, he's been playing a little bit banged up. He's slower than he normally is. And they have to pay so much attention to the deep pass that the underneath work should be available. And it should be a big Kelsey game. And CEH eats enough in the passing game to be able to do it. Plus, they might use him a lot before they bring in Le'Veon Bell. So, yeah, CEH is a RB1 still for the time being.
And then Mr. Swanson, I'll throw one to you real fast. With Zach Moss being a full participant in practice this week and should be playing, I think he got cleared last night. What does that do to Devin Singletary's production up against a porous Kansas City run defense?
I think it kills his value straight away. I'm very happy to see Zach Moss coming back, man. I've been holding on to him. I've been offered trades for him. I'm really happy that I held on. Yeah, I think it kills Singletary's value for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. And my easy home run hits are obviously you play the Mahomes Travis Kelce stack this week. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that.
All right. The late night Monday game. We'll take one more quick fire on this. And maybe not such a quick fire. Out of the 3 wide receivers, put them in this order: Amari Cooper, Gallup, or CeeDee Lamb. Put them in your order of highest production this week.
Dude, I hate to do this, but I think it goes Lamb, Cooper, Gallup.
I might go Lamb, Gallup, Cooper.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
If Patrick Peterson's going to shadow anyone, it's going to probably be Amari Cooper. Yes. You saw Andy Dalton throw the ball deep to Gallup a couple of times, and if he's going to throw the ball in 2.52 seconds, it's going to be to CeeDee Lamb in the slot. So I go Lamb, Gallup, Cooper.
I like that a lot, Juan, and I like Gallup as a sneaky play this week up against Dre Kirkpatrick, and this is why I asked this question. Yes, Patrick Peterson does get the shadow coverage on Amari Cooper. I think CeeDee Lamb has a great game against Byron Murphy and Michael Gallup. Since they will be playing from behind, we saw those contested catches be brought down when it counted. I think Dalton isn't afraid to throw the deep ball, and I think he connects with Michael Gallup a lot more than what we think for the rest of the season. And you're going to see Gallup's numbers start to climb back up. But I think CeeDee Lamb is the number 1 this week.
He's been the number 1 for them so far, like as far as efficiency, and he's the only player in the NFL. I don't know if he did it last week, but through the first 4 weeks where he had 5 catches and 50 yards in each of the first few games, and he's been killing it, man. And he's the target monster, and he's open, dude. Like he's too big and too fast for everyone in that slot. It's almost not fair that he's playing in the slot behind Amari Cooper and Gallup. Like he should be somebody's number 1 wide receiver somewhere.
Right on.
Cool.
And then my last thing. We've been talking about it for weeks and weeks. I want this to be the week that Dan Arnold, tight end for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm calling my shot. My man is going to have at least 4 receptions and a touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
I like it. I think he will.
Dallas has allowed touchdowns 3 out of the 5 games. Hayden Hurst, Hollister, and Hooper. All 3 guys that don't catch balls, that haven't really done too much this year. Dan Arnold, get in the end zone for me, pal. I'm not playing you any leagues. I just want justification that you are a fantasy viable tight end.
Cool. I like it. I'm gonna keep
you should go to Thrive Fantasy and prop up that bet, Chef.
Prop that up.
I wish I could. We're not they're allowed. Check their website for availability.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that about wraps it up.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking Arizona in that game, by the way.
Yeah. They got to win that game. Listen, it's a must-win for them, for the Cardinals. They got to keep up.
Must-win for the Cowboys too.
Nah, not in the NFC least. They can afford to lose a game here and there. They'll be all right.
Yikes.
How's it going to feel when Washington's back on top this week?
Let's not talk about this. All right.
hey, that means the Giants go 0-6.
I know, man. I don't want to have this conversation.
I don't know what you guys are tanking for, but it shouldn't be Trevor, unless you're over Danny Dimes already. I don't think you should be, but
hey, if we get the chance to get Trevor Lawrence, with a new head coach coming in, if he doesn't like what he sees from Danny Dimes, yeah, I think he could pull the trigger on Trevor Lawrence. If we have the overall pick, let's go. I'm all for it. Let's bring the inspiration back to the Giants and start with the new quarterback. But they have to build that lineup, man. They have to.
Well, listen, one way or another, Trevor Lawrence is playing at MetLife next year. That's all. That's it. I like to do that prop bet.
Oh,
we were in a conversation. The other day, and I heard Sam Darnold would be a great option for the Pittsburgh Steelers if he was in that system.
Yeah.
Now, there's no way that it's going to happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers don't really do too much trading. I guess they let Bell slide.
They let players go, but they don't trade for players. They're homegrown, and they don't. Well, I'm saying
when Ben Roethlisberger's day is done, I like Sam Darnold in that. I think Troy FF and Fuego brought that up, that he'd love Darnold in the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, and if you can imagine, that would just be a great fit. Unfortunately, Gase is the black hole, and he sucks every fantasy point out of existence. Except for Jamison Crowder this week.
Regular football points out of everybody's existence.
Yeah.
I think he might be 300 years old. He's just been sapping the life.
He does one of these. He does one of these, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I gotta be out. I'm gonna go get my brain swabs and go get my weekly COVID test.
Oh, that's a lovely situation. All right, guys. Tell them where you can find each other. Tell them where you find tags.
Y'all can find me on FFJAWN John Swanson on Twitter. And Juan, where can I find you?
I am at FF One of a Kind.
Okay. And Chef, what about you?
My name is James Crease. You can find me at FF_Chef on Twitter. Soon to be coming out new articles from Ball Blast. Check them out at Ball Blast FF on Twitter.
A lot of good stuff coming.
Also, some great stuff coming from Fantasy Intervention at FF Intervention on Twitter. Check out our YouTube page. Subscribe to the Fantasy Intervention YouTube page. Great stuff coming out. All three of us are involved with that project. Some great videos, some start sits, some fantasy 6-pack coming out during the week, and quick shots during the week as well. All right, I think that wraps it up. Guys, enjoy your Sunday games, and keep the tilt is real, man. The tilt is definitely real. We're out until next time. Everybody. Check us out tomorrow. We will be going on for the Sunday recap.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Tilt is Real Fantasy Podcast. Check out our website at thetiltisreal.com for weekly articles, breakdowns, and more. Follow us on Twitter at TIR_pod. We'll see you Tilters next week.